Much love to you, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Okay. My one question would be regarding, let's see, how do I phrase this? Many years ago, I've had automobile accident.
All right.
And sustained injury in my neck.
Yes.
Have lived with pain mostly on the right side for the past 20 years or so, it seems.
All right.
Okay, the other night I was fortunate to have a meditation which helped me release this.
All right.
And
exciting.
I know, it was wonderful. And tonight as I got up off the chair in my mother's house, my neck hurt for a moment.
That's all right.
Okay. Would you please help me define what caused the pain on whether it is stress, whether it is anger, and so that I no longer pick this up again?
The idea, first of all, to understand is that you have made a transition, that you have elevated yourself to a new level. The idea of having experienced what you may call the temporary, quote-unquote, lapse was not so much even a matter of stress, not so much even a matter of anger, but more a matter of testing yourself, of making sure that you had cleared the idea, that you had, in a sense, integrated all that you needed to integrate from having created that experience in your life that forced you to face certain things. You have accelerated yourself, no pun intended, highly. The idea is that many individuals will put themselves in certain limiting situations of that nature to clear out and process very rapidly, not over the course of many lifetimes, but over the course of a portion of one lifetime. Many of the things that might have taken many lifetimes to process. When you force yourself into that kind of a mold, when you force yourself into that kind of a template, then many times you face certain things that you may have otherwise taken many lifetimes to face and process. You have processed many of them. As you rose, in that sense, within the framework of your maternal energy, you gave yourself one last reminder that A, it was your choice, that B, you have created a transcendence, and C, in a sense, it was a temporary test, just checking in, making sure that the alignment is still there. Now, it will lead you, in our perception, to many other things, to many realizations that you can be of assistance to other individuals within the things that you have learned, within the information and the knowledge that you have gathered with your experiences. You can now begin to function on the other side of the doorway, in complete freedom in that sense, in a complete sense of service. There are many things that you learn that you will now be able to share with many other individuals who will be experiencing similar manifestations to what you created for yourself with that degree of limitation. Are you following me so far? Are you following me so far?
On the intellectual level.
On the intellectual level. How do you feel right now?
Wonderful.
Then you are following just fine on all levels.
But I felt wonderful when I knew I was going to talk to you.
All right. But you see, you are not really talking to me, you are talking to yourself.
Yes.
And that is always a wonderful thing to understand, always a wonderful thing to discover. Now, the idea also many times is that we will, as we have just done to some degree, share what is called rapid-fire communication, so that you will make an attempt to focus a little more strongly on what is being said, and so that the real message underneath the words actually gets delivered. Because in a sense it disarms your analytical, intellectual, conscious self by creating it to focus on the words, while at the same time we deliver the true message underneath. In that sense, therefore, you have allowed us to slip something in which will now blossom and grow in a very natural way. You can, to some degree, think in the direction of now considering yourself one of the natural herbs of your planet, one of the natural flowering blossoms of your planet. You are going to expand mightily in that way. Rise up toward your sun, rise up toward the light, bathe in it, soak it up, let it fill you. Let yourself glow. Become one homogeneous energy with no idea that you are made of a collection of parts which can become disarrayed. Begin to feel yourself as one homogeneous light. And there will be nothing in you that can anymore, ever again, become misaligned. You understand?
Yes.
Does this help you?
Yes, it does.
One moment. May I ask you a question?
Of course.
Oh, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Do you like the animal upon your planet that you call raven?
I've had nothing to do with one. I have no idea.
Do you like them?
Yes.
You don't sound too sure.
Well, never having met one, I don't know.
All right. The next time you see one,
Okay.
allow yourself simply to contemplate its form, contemplate its movement, contemplate its action. There is, in a sense, a reminder there, a connection there, that may allow you to turn one last key, to know beyond a shadow of a doubt that a new idea of yourself is truly solidly locked in. All right?
Yes.
One moment. You have inspired us also to share a few other things. Now, this may seem to be not connected, but there are levels of it that are. From time to time, we have discussed the idea, of course, that vocal language is vibration, that you give it its power, and sometimes the vocal language that you use is representative and reflection of the vibration that you are. Many times you will understand that the way your language is translated from our concepts through the channel takes on unusual patterns, unusual frequencies, unusual usage. An orchestration is taking place, and much of these vibratory patterns are actually what is responsible for the reactions and the openings that occur within you, the things that you allow to soak and seep within your consciousness and all the different levels you have created it to be. We have, to some degree, shared with you some of the ideas of our ancient language that we no longer use in that sense. We will share two more principles. Let them fall into place where they apply. Again, this may not seem to be immediately pertinent, but there are aspects that are. We have discussed the phrase in our ancient language, ili akar, which means basically experience. We have, shall we say, dissected the word in the understanding that ili is our word for mirror. And this will translate into any language in the same way it is constructed in our language. You would spell it in your language I-L-L-I, the reverse reflection of the first two letters. It is the reflection in the mirror. More literally, ili, in being referred to mirror, depending upon the context, will also refer to anything that is exchanged, anything that is returned. An echo can be called ili, depending upon the context. This whole notion of reflections, this whole notion of the return, of the exchange of information, of putting out a radiation which then is echoed back by your reality, by your surrounding, that whole idea is ili. Another understanding, plurality, singularity in our language. We have labeled our word Sasani. We call our civilization that. The people are Sasani. Now the idea of the usage of the term A and the usage of the term E will be the difference between the plural and the singular. In that sense, E sound will mean singular. A will be plural in that sense. An example, there is an animal in our civilization that exists in the ocean and would be similar to the idea of one of your seals per se. Very different in many ways. It has a bluish-gray skin, very rough hide in that sense, and a brownish fur collar. The idea is that in singular, this is called Nemba, but in plural, it is called Namba. The idea, therefore, of Sasani is that the singular place of all of us, the singular place of all Sasani. Now, this language lesson, to some degree, has to do with the whole idea of the communication of yourself with yourself. Because as each and every one of you in the past has created yourself to be thought of as a collection of parts, in fragmenting yourself and fractionating yourself in that way, it requires a very analytical and sophisticated communication system to keep track of all those parts. Now that you are integrating yourself into one understanding, one consciousness, one homogeneous whole, communication within you is instantaneous. For it reaches all of you all at once. For you are all right here, right now. So there really is no separation between the idea of I understand it in my heart, I understand it intellectually in my head. It is all one understanding. Create it to be one understanding. Let it soak in. Let it sink in whatever way it needs to. But at least allow yourself to begin with the understanding that you do know. You do communicate. You do understand in whatever way you need to. Let it process. Let it unfold like the blossom, like the flower, as it does to the sun. We thank you for allowing us what appears to be this little divergence. We bid you pleasant and ecstatic dream life in dream time, which is the blending of the physical and the non-physical reality into one aware, awake state of malleable creativity. Dream time. We thank you.
Thank you, Bashar, and a big, warm, fuzzy hug.
Thank you very much. Many of you are quite a bit more fuzzy than we are, yes.